GBM is just saying, because there's the threat of Lysandra, because there's the threat of that point and click, I can't do the things that I want to do.
Yeah. The first ban definitely interesting there. Nidalee dropped actually off the table. Santorin not wanting to play that our first picket. They don't want to give Prox the chance to bring it up there. Swain, yep, still banned away. No surprise at all. And even though Envy had the chance to first pick it last game, they didn't go for it. They put it in the bans. Now you certainly ban it this game because Boss would, I think, be happy to first pick that champion. Leaving the other sustained mages up, though, I believe Vlad was left untouched last time around. And you saw CLG try to play it, but not quite to success in the TSM series.
Though I will say who he was a bright spot for the team that game. I think he was actually doing a lot of work. Energy here, looking to ban out Elise. Actually interesting.
Oh, wow.
And I really expect Envy to have to ban Kindred here because you don't want to leave that open for first pick with these other junglers kind of taken off the table. They can obviously seed it and then take Rek'Sai, but I think it's one of those things where generally if one is taken off the table, both are.
So I think it's a bargain because Lucian, I think, is almost even a better first pick at this point. In my mind, it's above in the tier list, but that's up to what these teams decide about what's good, of course, or I'm just wrong. But I think that's the choice, really, is how many champs can you pinch? It's always the idea. The Kindred is banned, so Azale, props to you on that one, but keep in mind, Lucian was banned away last game. Now it's up on the table. I can't imagine a team not going for this pick, and honestly, I do think it's first pick worthy, but it's up to Energy to decide what they think is actually best here. And no, it's the Zyra that was actually left up before, was banned away, and KiwiKid gets that. Maybe even GBM gets that.
So speaking of new mages, Zyra is actually really cool now. I love the update. A lot more plants, a lot more poke to deal with because of that. Doesn't have the old passive, that kind of death passive, but it's definitely a champion that can be very frustrating to deal with, especially in siege situations, especially when you do hang out around an objective and build up those passive seeds for a while.
I definitely agree, and keep in mind that the spell AoE of like landing a Q or landing an E is one thing, but it has roughly twice the radius for activating plants. So you can miss the root and put up like 7 Vine Lashers.
And
you
Q is also massive now. It's a huge rectangular box.
Use like half the screen, and it will put up all the Thorn Spitters, and they will do plenty of damage to you. Lucian does get grabbed up. That was the bargain. Zyra off the table. Lucian grabbed up. Rek'Sai also taken with, what, 3 jungle bans coming through already.
I think Lucian is obviously S tier and is first pick worthy, but where I think we differ maybe a little bit is I just think that Ezreal is relatively comparable. I think there are 80s that can compete with Lucian, whereas the Kindred versus some of these other ones that are left up, I think it's much harder to make that argument. But it's looking like it could be Vladimir and Gragas being locked in here, which is setting themselves very AP heavy. And if you do go Ezreal route, then you kind of are lacking a real heavy physical punch. But Caitlyn would make a lot of sense to me.
So interesting Energy actually this time around happy to sort of duplicate roles here, saying you grabbed Lucian, there's no rush on grabbing Caitlyn. They could have grabbed the Vlad blind, taking away a high priority champion as we kind of consider it, but want to go for the Caitlyn. OQ on something, again, a great late game champion, played Sivir last time, never quite got off the ground, but Caitlyn, a better laning phase, probably shouldn't get pushed around too bad by Lucian, certainly can teamfight well.
I also do like Gragas talking about having early aggression, having a way to initiate to start fights to get yourselves ahead, and Gragas is a jungler that can be extremely explosive in the early game. The body slam flash is almost impossible to react to, and if you can get going early game, especially if that Zyra does go support, you have follow-up CC, that can be a deadly combo.
Definitely can be. Here we see Envy picking up another Karma for Hakuho. We've seen Karmas do different builds. We've seen some max shield first. Hakuho definitely did max his Q, maxed the damage ability to the second highest damage in his team actually while doing so. So a more damage-oriented Karma, which probably goes support. And meanwhile, this Echo, I think, is actually still a flex between Seraph and Ninja. I've seen Ninja play tank Echo before in the Challenger series, and just in general. So we'll see what he goes for with this one. Actually, I guess he never played in Challenger, but either way, I've seen him play the champion, I'm pretty certain. And now it's up to Energy to make their own choices. As the Envy have a flex pick, probably top lane, but never a guarantee. Energy, again, to make their last few choices. They're going to go for the Vlad after all, it looks like. And alongside of Maokai, really nice beef wall. Honestly, just well-rounded team.
Definitely a very well-rounded team. Very AP heavy as well. There's a lot of pressure on the Caitlyn to get stuff done. And I think that when you do run a team like this, if the other team does have strong dive, does have a way to actually take out that one physical damage threat, they can itemize heavily to MR, and that can make you kind of a one-dimensional team comp. So that's something that you do have to be aware of. but at the same time, I think they have a very strong team comp. They have incredible team fight. They do have ways to get a lot done. If you look at all the different lanes, bot lane, top lane, Maokai plus Gragas, Zyra plus Gragas, those are both very gankable lanes. We'll see if Energy can actually get something done early this time around.
They've also got like the most abusive bottom lane in almost the history of League of Legends. Caitlyn Zyra is so much poke, it's so long range, it's going to be very hard to deal with when you're a puny 500 range Lucian, strong as you may be. And it's going to be mid lane Victor coming out for Ninja. That will be Seraph playing the tank Echo in the top lane alongside or against the tank Maokai. So 2 Maokai games in a row for Quas. Santorin doesn't get the kill, goes for a tank this time around. GB and Ninja changing up their champions quite a bit here. And here we go into the game. Both teams, I think, pretty well rounded, honestly. And I like both these comps.
I think they're really good as well. Victor's really, really strong, has been a very high priority pick across all regions actually with the update. Definitely a lot of sustained damage. I think that the bot lane could be a huge focus this game, as Zyra is someone that, while it does have a lot of poke, it's one of the squishiest champions in the game. Rek'Sai is definitely a champion that can get in there, follow up CC with the Karma root from an Unburrow from that Rek'Sai. So I think because bot lane was such a huge part last game, the Caitlyn is the only AD threat here from Energy, and the fact that Zyra is so susceptible to those ganks, I think there's a lot of jungle focus probably going to be in the bot lane.
Yeah, even Lucian has great follow-up damage. He's really good at getting in there, getting the damage across. So this could be very explosive, a much faster game than the last one. You guys at home, don't forget to update your predictions on this game and let us know if you think Envy can close it out, or if you think Energy's going to come back to this one and pull a game 3. Tweet hashtag NVWin, hashtag NRGWin. Join in on the conversation. I'm curious to see who it's going to be and how you guys think it's going to play out here. But Envy, with a crushing game 1 where they slow rolled all over Energy, certainly a chance at a comeback here. We are into game 2, the final match of the night, but it could always go to game 3. So here we go. The first day of the North American LCS for summer 2016. Envy and Energy hitting the rift for game 2.
And something I want to point out immediately, I always check out masteries as we're going into the game. Seraph actually is rocking Fervor of Battle on Echo. And this is something I did see in Korea, and he's doing it once again here. So this is something that I did see. Against the Maokai, I haven't played it myself, but this is my thought process, and this is, I assume, the thought process for them, is that because Maokai is a low damage character, and because you can have these long extended trades with the Fervor, you can actually just stack that up and get enough value out of that in a long extended fight that it becomes better than the Grasp the Undying. At least that's my understanding, that's my thought process for it. But at the same time, you do lose out a little bit on the burst, and when you're just doing the kind of zip in, zip out trades, Grasp the Undying is very good, both for sustain and for kind of just those really effective trades.
Well, we'll see how it ends up being. Seraph did have the 7% magic penetration mastery in the offense tree, so still expects to do more magic damage than physical damage, and that's no surprise. You're playing Echo after all. You'd have to try really hard for that not to be the case. But yeah, Fervor for the repeated auto attacks, and I mean, most of these tanks are already running attack speed marked. You don't have to take any real hits in your rune page to make the attack speed build better. Even Maokai's run that just to get their passive off more frequently.
It's also just a lot easier to last hit, honestly, on Maokai, on a lot of these tank champions. If you do just have like 15% attack speed, it makes laning a lot easier. Your trading is better. Even early game, just wave clear and competing against a push can be a lot easier. So it's pretty impactful, and you don't really give up that much to do it. Yeah,
and talking about more Keystone Masteries for solo laners, Strength of the Ages on Vladimir is the very common one. If you want to play some Vladimir at home, turns out 300 bonus health, really good on Vlad thanks to his passive. Almost always going to recommend you take that one on the champion. In case you didn't know, now you know. Otherwise, pretty normal stuff. One thing I'm actually surprised about is Kiwi Kid going Thunderlords and not Deathfire Touch on Zyra. Plants will apply either one. They'll trigger the burn on DFT, or 3 hits turns on Thunderlords on somebody. But I've always been a fan of the burn that comes out of it.
I think Deathfire is very nice, but as a support, I actually do favor taking Thunderlords, just because I think that you don't usually get enough AP that it becomes super, super impactful. Whereas Thunderlords, especially in early game, it's kind of just putting a bet on laning phase. Thunderlords, I think, is more impactful in the lane. I think that's where they're kind of putting more of their eggs.
Okay, so we get ourselves into the game. We had already seen that the Energy duo lane did take Krugs before coming in. They're worth less experience than they were before the 6.9 changes, but they still wanted to do it, and it's going to be an interesting lane situation, as it was a lane swap. Quas will teleport into the bot lane to join the team and knock this turret down. We are in a lane swap game this time around, and, well, Kiwi Kid going to get plenty of damage with the Spell Thieves, and we'll see these turrets take quite a bit of damage.
Also, it was actually pretty cool the way they did the Krugs with the Zyro passive plants. It made it a lot easier. He ran straight there, allowed a number of passive plants to spawn that tanked up the damage, increased the speed at which they were able to do it as well. So a nice little adaptation and something that you can do very effectively with Zyra. Even just leashing for your jungler as a solo queue type thing, it's really, really fast, and you can basically make them take no damage if you actually get good enough seed spawns.
Yeah, definitely some impressive stuff right there. So good start to all this. 2 CS from Kiwi Kitty managed to steal some of it, but that's all right. Quas will be getting solo gold, which is now 400. If you count the global gold and top it off with that one. So plenty of money on the Quas. We're seeing a similar situation here. Envy will be slower in the turret take, but unless Energy does something with the 20-second advantage they have, it's not going to mean very much here.
It was also pretty cool to see Quas actually just sneak into lane, hang out in the bush, collect a little bit of XP, get that 2 CS that he did before joining up with his team.
Seraph missed it. I don't know if it's going to really hurt him. It depends how fast his wave comes in, but he's pushing as fast as he can.
The bot lane duo could actually get up there and prevent this, and if they do, that's actually a pretty big mistake. We'll see if it's still going to go down to the minions.
I don't know. It's going to be close.
I think
either way,
save it.
If it does go down, they miss 300 gold either way. And now they miss 800 gold, but the turret not dying. I think as Proxim was in that side of the map, he could have maybe committed to that lane and pushed it down a bit faster. Not the case, though. So Envy missing a turret, pretty rough misstep. They got greedy with their timing, and it turns out Energy can get back in time.
And if the top laners actually do match up now, Quas is going to have a pretty disgusting lead as far as early game gold. He actually almost has double his opponent's gold because he collected the CS. He's 12-4. He got all that turret gold as well as the local turret gold. So if they do match up, he's going to have a pretty big advantage in that.
Yeah, he's at boots of speed at pink ward on a level, basically, is what that amounts to. And, well, those things all matter. Yeah, quite a bit. So we'll see if that pays out even further. Energy also, by the way, have made the top lane much sooner, and they're getting plenty of damage down on this one. We'll see if anyone joins them. Looks like the answer is no, but those two can do plenty of damage anyway. They're going to be fine. Envy likely will get this turret down properly. It should be okay. So the item deficit isn't mattering because they're not fighting anything. The turrets don't run, so...
And
25 move speed doesn't mean anything.
Eventually is going to be able to pick up probably at least this gold, but definitely a nice early advantage for Energy. And just to speak about the mid lane matchup a little bit, I'm expecting GBM to actually go Spirit Visage first, which I think is really, really good into these AP matchups. And it's so frustrating to actually deal with because you can just not make this champion go away. He just will not leave lane. You can't poke him out. You can't all in him. It becomes so difficult to deal with in combination with the Strike of the Ages. He has so much HP, so much tankiness, and it's really, really tough to deal with. Some people will elect to go more aggressive builds, get Abyssals early, things like that, but I would definitely expect to see him go Spirit Visage in this matchup.
And we'll see what his choices end up being here in this one. Right now, he's not been forced back. Early Cloud Drake picked up, so Envy, so far, immaculate control over dragons in this series. And interesting timing, of course. I feel like Energy could have chosen to do that on the first half of the lane swap, but this time around, now that their power play was on the bot side of the map, they turned the turret kill into the dragon, grabbed the Cloud Drake. They got that out of combat movement speed now. We'll see if they can turn that into better rotations. But otherwise, it will have no combat impact. Uh-oh, Ninja gonna walk into Santor. Nope, cross paths, ships in the night.
It's cool, bro.
I didn't want to fight you anyway.
Yep, so he's just going to get out of there, pick up a little bit of experience, and there was no follow-up damage, so it's not like he could have really done anything anyway.
True.
This Gragas doesn't have enough damage to solo out the Victor, and if Victor had teammates there, he'd be the one in trouble. We do see Cowl being picked up here for the Vladimir, so he is going to be working his way towards that Spirit Visage. And the early upgrade for Ninja, to have that upgraded E, gives you really good wave clear. You can actually one-shot the backline, and it seems like the common build now is actually just going to the max rank of the Hex Core right away, as people are really valuing having the move speed for the new ultimate, because keeping it on top of your opponents is super, super important. It does a lot of damage over time, and that's actually massive now. People building with the fully upgraded Hex Core plus Rylai's, it actually just stays on top of you. You can't get away.
Definitely some rough stuff. You got to watch out for it. Nice. Good takeaway. Centaur managed to grab that with his smite. Now a bit of damage onto Quas. Only level 4 in the Maokai, so he's got to be a bit afraid, but poor Seraph, only 3 right now. Just limping along as best he can right here. Envy really trying to take over control of the bot side of the map. The minion wave, though, right now still being held by Laud very, very far away, so that Lucian cannot reinforce, but they really want to push Quas around. He doesn't even need to be here. Why even have to burn his flash? There's nothing for him on that side of the map, and he walked into it anyway.
Yeah, and he's kind of just wandering back over there again, and since we actually called out the Gold League, Quas hasn't picked up a single CS, so it's kind of the top laner struggle in this sort of a game where both of them are just kind of wandering around trying to find something to do. They want to funnel the farm into their ADs, into their mid laners, and both the top laners, as a result, are going to be super weak.
Yeah, I mean, the AD carries are freezing, both of them.
Yep.
And okay, the top lane turret never went down, so there's like 800 gold waiting around on the map, but if you look at either of these AD carries, OQ and Lod just sitting there, waiting around. Now, it's worth noting that OQ will eventually outscale. The Caitlyn's late game is definitely above what Lucian's is. He does fall off after a while, but I mean, he's still got to get his Youmu's first.
Look at this level advantage. It's a level 7 jungler to a level 3 top laner. That's like, oh my god, that is so sad for Seraph right now. There's just, he's weaker than the supports.
Yeah. Yeah, it's rough stuff right now, but Santorin able to invade into the top side of the map, and now a pressure in towards the mid lane. Bit of damage on a Ninja. A nice knock-in, forced to flash away, but he might just die anyway. GBM just making sure he has the damage output, but no, he actually doesn't. Ninja survives it somehow.
GBM didn't stay in for the Q. The Q wasn't up right when he flashed, but that was a pretty bad misplay. I mean, both Santorin could have flashed for that body slam, which would have secured the kill. GBM actually could have hung around a little bit longer for the Q to get that first blood as well. Maybe it would have been a kill trait, but pretty messy stuff there from Energy. Either way, they do get, I guess, a little bit of a mid lane advantage there, pushing him back, but still, definitely should have been first blood for them.
Well, speaking of first blood right here, looking at attempt in the top, sorry, the red buff maybe, as Proxen goes in on towards Santorin, bit of damage back and forth. Nice smite away. Santorin has honestly been on point with his smite so far. He's gotten almost everything.
He's doing great. Honestly, Proxen, though, I think Santorin could have just started fighting him if he had vision, because look at Proxen's items. He actually just had both parts of the jungle item without any upgraded smite and swifties, so he had no combat stats there at all, and Santorin, if he knew where the rest of the team was, probably could have just manned up and killed him with double buffs.
Yeah, I mean, you see where Lucian's freezing. He's actually like behind his own turret at this point. There's no one to like around to reinforce. I mean, that is still like the choice these players are going for. They're just putting the gold on those marksmen. And again, it's fine right now. Again, these guys need to get their first items eventually, and at one item, it will be better for Lucian. And so, you know, as time goes on, it will quickly be Lod the one getting to put pressure on.
I also like that we're seeing both supports have picked up early Frostfangs. That's kind of interesting because normally in pro play you see the rush straight to that Sightstone almost every single game. But I do think on a support, especially like Zyro, where it's super easy to cash in on that gold, if you pick it up very early, it actually amounts to a massive amount of gold throughout the course of the game.
Yeah. Funny thing is, though, they don't have anyone to lane against.
Yeah.
So it's like, well, yeah. Well, turret's already gone, sadly. So
True.
We'll see if they can get any more hits across, but I do like Frostfang as well. It's definitely a great item. And now the Sightstones are coming in. You see Kiwi Kid has his.
Yeah, Kiwi Kid has already earned 300 gold from that, so not bad whatsoever.
Definitely not bad at all. 173 tribute gold versus 188. Practically the same. 15 off. Nice stuff. The rest of 300, of course, is the passive gold generation. Gold lead actually growing a little bit for Energy. There's still 800 gold on the map from that top lane turret, but there's another, 500 not accounted for from Energy, farming just a little bit better in this one, and it's not for the mid lane.
Yeah, it is a big wave pushing towards Seraph, though, on that Echo, so finally going to get to pick up some of the CS, and he could actually theoretically freeze this out for a while if he does want to, but we'll see what they're going to be doing, as it looks like Envy is kind of moving some pieces on the map up to the top lane.
It's actually a 900 gold lead on Santorin. You can see he's 2 levels up, so that was the obvious culprit, but yes, 30 total last hits, 2 levels, and turns out almost 1,000 gold. So massive stuff. Santorin is right now winning the jungle matchup in terms of a farm game. Both games I should say, in this matchup have been pretty slow early games and sort of predicated off of mistakes in the early game. In one case, it was you walked into 2 people, and in this case, it was you didn't finish the turret off.
And here goes Envy up to the top lane. I think they want to take out this turret and maybe just going to go in and tank it up, and Lod will be able to collect himself all that local gold, so very nice stuff. 400 extra gold on that AD carry, and that is a lot of where that gold lead was, so eliminating that off the map, definitely nice stuff for Envy.
Yeah, you get to see the rest of the payout now, where you're actually seeing slight lane deficits in some of these places. Mid lane down 15 or so, actually. You got to give props to Ninja for winning the matchup here against GBM, and then everyone else kind of picking up the scraps. Santorin, the big winner on the Energy side.
Santorin also having his fully completed jungle item now. This is kind of reminiscent of the earlier series where we did have Smithy in a situation where he just has his sight zone. He doesn't have any pieces even of that real completed jungle item. He's up against someone who has a lot more combat power.
Definitely so, and you've got to give respect to that Gragas, who's got his stamina available, he's got his ulti. And though Cinderhulk got buffed in 6.9, he is sticking with the Runic Echoes build.
I'm really honestly surprised that Santorin did not return to mid lane. They forced the flash from Ninja, and he didn't have to blow his. I feel like that would have been a free kill with a flash body slam into an ult, but time is running out on that as Flash is coming back up for Ninja.
And we'll see if they can make anything happen, though, with the small win that they still do have. Blue buff attempt, how about this one? 10 damage coming across, Proxen wants in, does not get the spike, but he does get an Akiba kit. Plenty of damage out there, heal and Flash uses the save, but now Proxen too far up, a first blood, a great ulti in from Santorin.
Quas.
And a late teleport in from Quas. Can he find someone else to kill? Ninja running away with Ghost on, but he's slowed down. Now attack onto the side of the map. Quas low, and he goes down. Lot picks up a kill. Ninja staying alive, but no. The chase comes in. GBM gets himself that kill. Now pushing Lot back to his base. Be careful, because the flag queue is up. He was for 400, but now Lod wants back in the flash, the chase down. GBM overextends, and Hakuo makes him pay. Now the flash in, Seraph wants the chase. Can he get the damage? Wants OQ, one more hit, gets the shield, and no, not just yet.
He can actually block the Q.
The body slam as well, slowing him down, and now Seraph almost goes down. A 2 for 2 overall. Energy got the first blood. Now a pretty close trading kills. Proxen flashes, gets a knockup. 3 is going over. Envy taking out the advantage, actually.
Yeah, Energy, that fight started great. They overstayed. They got too greedy. Quas TP'd in, basically just didn't do anything before he died. And then GBM staying too long, getting his team kind of a disadvantage off what should have been a really good fight for them. But either way, nice little play in the middle of that by Kiwi Kid to actually jump in front of the Time Winder from Seraph, so it did kind of start bouncing back early. That actually did save OQ and at least cost Proxen his flash to pick up that kill.
Yeah, but just really unfortunate. We talked about Energy being too slow in game 1. This time, too hyphy. That was a free 1 for 0. That turned into a 2 for 3.
Yeah. Nice setup actually for this ult from Kiwi Kid though, as he flashes out, he lands the root, which allows Santorin to get the very easy ultimate, knocked him right, actually I believe into a trap it looked like, so a good first kill here, and this is where things kind of went rough. You can see Quas coming in on the right side there, had essentially died before he even joined the fight, because he actually just took so much damage coming in from Lod, from Hakuo, so nice job from that dual lane, punishing Quas TPing into a spot where he had no support.
And you can see, even though GBM can heal himself, there's the flash cue from Hakuo, making sure he got it for himself. And then the chase down was a really great part here. The Seraph chasing on in, and then somehow just couldn't get the auto attacks in, just doesn't walk quite fast enough.
And this is what I was talking about, actually standing in front, blocking that Q, and then the nice body slam from Santorin, but they are going to pick up these kills on the back end. And either way, game is very, very close. 200 gold lead for Energy, so definitely going better than last game by far. And we have pieces of that Zhonya's being picked up here by GBM, and he's going to be very tanky.
Look at the plants, the attempted siege coming in. GBM's got to give a little bit of respect over to Seraph, and well, they got to respect GBM though as well. He put in the ult, he put in the damage, and the wave is gone. Mid lane's at half, but still, Energy really salvaging that pretty nicely. And the next dragon up, by the way, you can see it on the minimap, is going to be another Cloud Drake. So second Cloud Drake, Envy did get the first one. It's nice, both these teams' tags are just the team name, basically. You can just pronounce the letters.
Yeah.
But they both start with N, so it confused me for a second.
Yeah. How do you feel about the IE completion first on Caitlyn? I'm always much more of a fan of just getting a BF or a BF pickaxe into the Hurricane, because I think that Hurricane's so powerful.
So mathematically, I really dislike it. The only situation where it kind of makes sense is that like crit chance and crit damage feed into headshot directly.
Yeah.
And you can only headshot once off of a trap or off of a net. So if you're pretending you're more of a caster in that every auto attack is because of a trap or a net, then like that starts to tweak it. But DPS wise, it's actually worse than other champions when you're going for like, when you're considering things like Zeal.
Yeah, because you also have to take into consideration you're getting less headshots because you don't have the Hurricanes.
Sure, right. So yeah, I mean, I personally love BF Sword and Hurricane. I think it's the best build, like the optimal DPS build. But depending on your sort of, if you really think it's all about the cupcakes, then I can see IE being mathematically optimal. Either way, it's a stack of attack damage, and he's going to keep growing up. It's not a huge difference in the long run.
On the other side of things, Laud has his Ghost Blade completed, working towards that Black Cleaver. If they ever do meet up in a 1v1, it's going to be bad news for OP.
Yeah, it is. This is pretty much the Lucian power spec right now. He is fast, he does a lot of damage, and he shreds through your armor. It's difficult road ahead for his targets, at least for the next maybe 10 minutes or so. Right now, Envy stacking up around this Cloud Drake. They will kill a little bit slowly, but they're trying for this one. Maokai on the other side of the map, but
I think he should join.
he has teleport, but he's still not casting it yet. 1,000 health left. Santorin going for the steal, and he's gonna get it. Santorin's smites are on point. That is his, and there is the flank. Quas is in. He wants this one. Ulti's popped up into the front line, and a huge ulti in for Santorin. The ulti pop by Seraph to stay alive. Proxy gets out just barely, and despite the explosive casket, wasn't enough. But be careful, Ninja. He's got to kite away. Thankfully, someone blocks the bullet for him. No kills picked up, but hey, Dragon Energy, good stuff.
They do get it, and finally Energy, has a successful team fight. They get the Dragon, they do win the fight, and it's gonna give them the mid lane turret, which is huge. GBM was able to do a massive amount of damage, but actually, they're not gonna commit to it. Seraph's gonna TP in and save this.
They're not allowed to finish it. The health bars were honestly a bit low. The mana bar is even lower, and you don't really want to risk getting it turned around when a game is this close. Props to the smite, 0 for 0, reset the map, teleport using a couple of people, and we're back in this one.
You really did see the effectiveness of the Vladimir in that fight, though. He had a massive ultimate hitting most of the members of Envy, was able to actually get some ease out there as well, and almost the entire Envy team was down 10-20% HP. They got completely chunked out there.
You see this, though, the sort of recuperation by Envy was just faster. Energy tried to siege mid after the fight, whereas Envy recalled and then went down mid and sent 5 full health people. We're not afraid of anybody. And it looks like they actually came out ahead in that trade. So the first non-mirrored turret kill of the game, really. Envy actually pulling a gold lead for the first time. It's tiny, of course, but actually a lead that can't be immediately answered.
Yeah, and that was the result of Seraph keeping his TP, because Quas actually TP'd into that where Seraph just walked down. So him having that allowed him to defend mid, pick up the turret first. So well played by him, just being in the right place at the right time, nets them that mid lane turret advantage.
Good stuff by them. Santorin, though, still stealing away the buffs. That is his blue. Thank you very much. By the way, wrong season for the Santa Graga skin. I don't know if you know this, Santorin, but it's June. You're 6 months off, but that's okay. We'll forgive you on this one. And right now, though, Envy, again, it looks like the team that's pulling the trigger first, looking for this top lane to get pushed in. No Mountain Drakes this time, but still plenty of damage to deal when you've got, like, 210 attack damage on a Lucian. Yeah, just a bit of chip. Energy respawns in time, and out they go.
Looks like GBM going to be heading bot lane. I think they just want to have them split up right now, because looking across at Envy's lineup, who's actually going to be able to match GBM in this split push? Seraph is painfully behind where the mid laners are right now. He's 3 levels down on GBM. He has less than half his CS, so Seraph cannot match up against GBM. Victor is not someone who wants to be in that side lanes because he doesn't have TP, and it's not like Proxy can 1v1 him. I don't think Lod could either with the zonies completed, so no one really can answer GBM right now.
Yeah, it's a Spectre's Cowl as his only defensive item that affects his matchup against Vladimir. Seraph is the one trying. And as long as GBM doesn't have great wards, he can't stay out that long for the threat of being ganked, so even if the matchups suck, the threat of reinforcements can be enough to keep that lane from being completely abysmal, and right now that seems to be the case for Envy. Ninja back in the mid lane as the primary wave clear, and sadly misses CS. Auto attack damage not high enough. Rek'Sai rejoining the mid side of the map. Proxen wants in. As he builds towards the standard tank stuff, not actually going for an Aegis. He's actually doing the more selfish build of a Spectre's Cowl. And actually similar for both of these junglers, actually. We're not seeing Aegis out of either side.
QB Kid also has completed his Sorcerer's Boot, so he's actually going for that magic penetration build. It'll be interesting to see if this Ruby Crystal is going to go into a Leandry's or if it's going to be for something like an Aegis, a bit more defensive.
Let's see him trying to push
Santorin, though,
right here.
that blue buff.
Yeah, he wants in. He can look for maybe a
GBM.
flash explosive cast. GBM nearby. Doesn't have any real CC to speak of yet, though. But it forces the flash out of Hakuho. So the Envy support missing now. The ability to reposition or get away. Ninja had also burned Ghost. Yeah, GBM still in the flank. Quas here as well. They really want to force Envy around the map and get him off of these turrets. GBM buying so much time, but careful for the gravity well. He's going to get stunned up. Lot on the wings. He's going to slide for now, but here comes the re-engage. Looking for the burst, looking for GBM. He gets rooted up. Pops the Zonia's staying alive for now, but his Q is not empowered yet. Has to flash away, and Quas is already dead, having not the greatest series so far. Ninja looking for someone else to deal damage to. Mid lane turret did finally go down. Cost of a kill. The Envy now with more members on the map can maybe look for something to do with this.
They did at least get the flash off of Laud as well, so some summoners were blown, but pretty aggressive positioning there from GBM and Quas, and it was actually a really nice gravity field there from Ninja, which kind of put GBM in this all-in position where he was just stuck. He was going to get stunned up by that Victor W, and it made it so he had to go for the fight, and it cost Quas his life.
It did cost Quas his life. Kiwi Kid, by the way, just to sort of check in on his build, he's running a bit more than standard Magic Pen. I think it's just Magic Pen Glyphs. So he's not fully crazy aggressive, but he's got 9 Magic Pen from Ruse, if my math is correct, which is, I think,
the guys as well now.
Yeah, so he's becoming a big boy. He is going for the Leandries. Did go for the completed Sight Stone, the upgraded Sight Stone, which is more than some would have done. But yeah, an aggressive build for him, considering he's playing with 2 to 3 tanks, honestly, right? Vladimir going for Visage first, right? He's not the highest damage threat, and so Kiwi Kid supplementing his team's damage quite a bit.
Definitely, and I think that Rylai's is actually something that fits in this build very nicely as well, if he does actually ever get enough gold to get to that point. So we'll see how long this game goes, how much gold Kiwi Kid is able to actually pick up. He's been having a pretty nice game for himself so far, but we haven't really seen that huge teamfight impact that Zyra can have. And speaking about the Eye of the Watcher, he has picked up around 900 gold for himself so far. And almost the exact same, actually, for Haku.
So they've been farming up quite nicely. Yeah, 900 gold from the gold generation.
A lot.
Not a bad thing. Not a bad thing at all.
It's actually more than the full Frostfang cost now that they invested into it.
Yeah.
Already.
So definitely worth it for these guys. Looking forward, we're seeing Executioner's Calling come out as the early 3rd item pickup for Lod. So still no crit or attack speed on him. He's going, I think it's the right choice. You're against a Vladimir and a Maokai and a Gragas. So, you know, props for the right choices. But 3rd Cloud Drake in a row. This one looks like it goes to Envy. Centurion, nope, not going to get there in time. If it weren't for that Smite Steal, it would have been 3rd Cloud Drake for Envy. And it would have been wicked fast running around the map. But now, honestly, not that crazy considering it's just 2-to-1 in Cloud Drakes.
Yeah, it's not nearly as big of an advantage. Obviously, it is still nice, and you do have to worry about those engages. It's harder to run away. It's harder to chase people down as they do get out of combat and they do pick up that move speed, but definitely not going to be too big of a deal. Yeah. Executioner's Calling, though, I think is so smart, and it's actually something I don't believe we saw Doublelift do in the earlier game against Huhi. And especially when you have Maokai with so much healing, the Gragas passive healing, Maokai passive healing, all the Vladimir healing, and we are going to have eventually lifesteal on this Caitlyn, which it's going to reduce that as well. So almost everyone is being hurt by this Executioner's Calling, and it's 800 gold.
Yeah.
It's so good.
Yeah, it's 800 gold, and you still get attack damage out of it.
Yeah. It's only 10 less than a pickaxe, and it's 75 gold cheaper, and it also puts that Grievous Wounds up every time you attack. So very, very, very valuable item.
Yeah, and it's Grievous Wounds on physical damage, so culling will affect it too, so will the Q. You don't have to just auto-attack him to get that one out. And Envy, sitting on a small 900 gold lead, as well as +1 Drake. Doesn't suck, they are technically winning. And as far as scaling goes, I actually would, though, hand that one over to Energy. So as far as playing a patient game, I think it's okay for the blue side.
Yeah, and this is more what you hope to see in a patient scaling game rather than last game. They actually are contesting. They are fighting. They're doing well. They may be behind a little bit, but not too much. And the only worrying kind of lead right now for Energy is that Seraph is actually getting pretty massively ahead of Quas, and that's something that is going to be tough if they ever do have to match up, because he's down 2 levels now. He's down 50+ CS, and that's something that Quas had a much better start actually than Seraph. So Seraph has kind of chipped this away for himself, and it's also obviously a lane priority thing because GBM is getting more of the side waves since he's split pushing, things like that. Either way, Quas is falling pretty far behind.
And he's matching what Santorin's ahead. It's about a 1,200 gold advantage for Seraph, 1,200 gold advantage for Santorin. And you consider them somewhat equivalent as they're both tanks who deal a fair bit of damage, and so like maybe that does balance out. But yeah, Quas as a split pusher, Quas as a flanker, well, he's going to be targetable. He's going to be killable, and that's a really big deal when Centaur is actually the one who's farther ahead. But that guy doesn't have teleport.
If I'm Envy, I really don't care if my Rek'Sai is a little bit behind, honestly, because he's just more about popping people up. It's full tank with a Sightstone Rek'Sai, whereas Quas is playing a hyperscaling tank, so it hurts a lot more, I think, personally, for him to be behind on gold. But I definitely see what you mean. It is relatively a fair exchange there, because Gragas is going to have some pretty big impact, too.
Right, but yeah, I mean, again, if we were to choose, I would still sort of rather be in Envy's shoes in that case, where, again, their advantaged player can use a teleport, so... minor points, but always things to consider and things to talk about. Oh, nice! Doesn't have to be Santorin to take that one away. Actually, it was the Rek'Sai Q that stole it. Hakuho landed the Soul Flare, but that wasn't quite enough damage. Proxim getting a blue buff, getting it away from GBM, which is cooldown reduction and ability power, both of which are definitely relevant.
That's certainly annoying. Not as big a deal for Vlad, but we do see OQ coming down here. They're going to try to get the 2v1 onto Seraph, but Seraph looks like he's already gone.
Yeah, he's quick. He got the stun off on a Quas. He got the move speed from Z drive converter, or whatever the passive's called. He runs fast enough. GBM pushed around a little bit. Empowered Q's gonna be back up. Executioners comes off. His health back up pretty reasonably, and well, it's still a fair bit of poke. And these players from Envy, Z drive Resonance, I was close. Thank you very much, Arthur, for your assistance. And now Lod, though, low on health, explosive cask. Oh, it separates him, but it's still not quite enough damage to kill him. Good shield from Hakuho to make sure that Lucian lived. But that was a nice override Santorin. Nice attempt by OQ. But you're seeing Envy really play the rotation game quite nicely. +1 Cloud Drake feeding just enough that they're getting there a bit faster.
You may catch him, though. Seraph could be in a little bit of trouble.
He's got to be a bit careful. Pops his passive. His Q would have done anyway, but he does get the move speed out of Z drive Resonance. He gets out.
Able to just hop away to the scuttle, and he did have proxing coming, so would have been fine. Something worth talking about, though, OQ is actually scaling up pretty heavily here, looking to complete. Very likely that I would guess Phantom Discer could be a Shiv, something like that as well. Could be Rapid Fire. Hard to actually, I guess, know what his second attack speed item is going to be.
Sure.
But when you complete those 3 items on Caitlyn, you have 80% crit. You're very, very, very strong in those team fights as long as you can be protected. And with the massive front line that he has, as well as Zyra with that counter engage that Zyra's famous for, this is something that they're going to have to be pretty worried about. And Caitlyn has just been able to kind of silently farm away, scale up. They haven't had to fight too much, and has the potential to really carry some late game fights if OQ can play it properly.
All right, well, here we go. Nice smite away. Santorin gets that, but loses immediately his Raptor buff as, well, he was in vision of a pink ward, and that's going to time out before too long. Q-Wicked playing the vision game right now. Looks like Baron is on the table. We will have one more dragon, and by the way, just so you guys know, that's going to be an Ocean Drake coming up next in 1 minute, and that's going to give a regen based on missing health. Whichever team can pick that one up. If you want to play the Siege game, it's going to help you a little bit with this one.
Also, just nice to deny from the enemy team. You know, even if it's not huge for your team, obviously, you're not just gaining it, you're stealing it. Is kind of how I like to look at the Dragons. So very, very important there. And it's looking like Q-Wicked is now working away to that Aegis. I'm assuming that's what the Null Magic Mantle is going to be for. As not having an Aegis on your team against, you know, the Victor, the Karma, as well as the magic damage coming out of Echo is pretty big.
Definitely agree. It's certainly worth considering here and thinking about. He actually bought a Vamp Scepter and then sold it. No, he's actually going Blasting Wand, so he's going a full Magic Man build. It's haunting guys into Abyssal Scepter as Q-Kid's build. That'll actually add him cooldown reduction, which, by the way, is actually a really big stat on Zyra. Getting to put more W plants is actually a pretty big deal.
Surprised that we didn't see an Aegis actually just come out from Santorin then, but it may just be that he was feeling, hey, I'm really ahead. I want to just have the most combat prowess that I can individually and make something happen with that. It didn't really work out that way, and at this point, honestly, even though Spirit Visage is much more effective individually, I'd rather see him with the Aegis. But here comes TP.
Well, here comes the play in towards the top river right here. Plenty of damage on a GBM. Jumping away, Lot has to flash up, but it's already the kill on OQ, who got caught out and surrounded. And now it's all about what Vladimir can do. Jumping into the front line, the empowered Q is up, flashing forward, still goes down. Does try to kill back though, Hakuho, and he trade him back and forth. Santorin forced to run, it's now Ninja and Seraph pushing in on Aquas, pulls him back in with the Evolved Gravity Well, doing exactly what you would think it would say by the name. And it's now Quas again, stunned up by Seraph, picked off 3 kills to just 1. Big advantage Envy.
Yeah, this is going to be Baron for Envy. A huge fight there. And we talked about the combat prowess of the Caitlyn late in the game, but OQ gets caught completely out of position. Envy collapses beautifully. They're going to pick themselves up a Baron here, as it looks like no one is in position to contest this whatsoever. So a massive lead here now for Envy.
Beautiful stuff right there. The Seraph damage I put from Fervor Echo certainly coming into effect at least a little bit there. And Santorin, despite his gigantic gold lead, didn't get anything done with it. Max CDR didn't get enough damage, didn't turn much around. Only Envy's support died. And they can maybe regroup in time for this dragon.
But yeah, here's how it actually started. And Quas was TPing in, but OQ just gets caught out, deleted almost immediately. He's barely able to do anything. Gets 1 auto, 2 autos off in that fight. And you compare that to how much work Laud is actually getting done, and it's a pretty massive difference. Laud is actually able to get a lot of damage out here onto GBM, who flashes forward, able to finish off Hakuho, but did not have another Q to take out the AD carry. And when it's an AD carry versus a team without one, it's a pretty one-sided fight. That's what we saw. Q-Kid bailed out pretty early here as well. Maybe could have tried to add a little bit more, but I'm not sure how valuable it is to try to keep yourself alive as a support there when you still have both summoners and the AD carry is low. Because how do you even able to pick up a miracle kill on Laud? Maybe they can't do the Baron.
Yes, well, Baron definitely got grabbed, and by the way, during the replay, the Ocean Drake was killed by Envy, so they've got that 3rd one now. They've got the extra regen. As long as you haven't taken champion damage in 5 seconds, you get 4% missing health every 5. So It's going to keep them topped off, and now they can play the rotations game around the map, staying just on the map now. Just the idea of walking back and forth and poking lanes. These Dragon buffs are helping Envy with that gameplay. The Baron buff, 2 minutes left on it still. Everyone but Hakuho wearing that buff, and they can certainly get a lot done. The Cupcake Wall probably doesn't mean very much right now for Energy.
Something we talked about earlier as well in Champ Select, when you do have such an AP-heavy team, look at the build from Seraph. He has a full Visage, a full Banshee's Veil. His only real armor is Tabby's and that Iceborne Gauntlet. And he can do this because OQ is the only physical damage. And when you have a team comp like that, all you have to do, you fully collapse on the Caitlyn. If you take out that Caitlyn, now no one else can really touch this Echo. No one has enough damage to punch through all of that magic resist. So this is something that they kind of pick themselves into, and they must keep the Caitlyn alive. Without Caitlyn, they have no chance to win the team fights.
And she's even itemizing to try to knock down some of these tanks a bit better. Last Whisper grabbed up before finishing everything else. Mortal Reminder now done on her, but it's all about Seraph versus GBM, and GBM actually losing that fight substantially. A 7-stack Dark Seal definitely doesn't suck for Seraph. The AP ratio is quite high on Echo at this point in time, and it makes up for some of the nerfs that went to tank Echo. The Baron buff actually putting him almost back to equal, to be completely honest, so.
It wasn't long ago that we were talking about how it was actually 160 CS on GBM to 70 on Seraph, and Seraph has now basically completely caught up, which is pretty ridiculous.
Yeah, meanwhile, Ninja ballooned ahead, cresting 340. He's over 10 per minute, solid by him. Mid lane tier 2 going down at the hands of that Victor, who just might be in this game. 6,000 gold lead. Next dragon will be the Elder, which will be very hard to kill. It's actually as durable as Baron Nashor, so that's just to give you an idea of how long that's going to take you. But yeah, Envy, honestly, I would say this game is actually almost more convincing than previous one, because game 1 you're like, oh yeah, the level 1 was so rough, like they just snowballed it, okay, whatever. But this one was, they were behind, you know, First Blood went over to Energy, they had to play the rotation game properly. Seraph had to really beat up on Quas, and did so. And it's Envy truly earning this win from equal footing.
Seraph has played really, really well this game. He's been huge for Envy, especially just kind of hanging around, not giving up any kills early when he was so far behind. He was level 3 to a level 7 Santorin. He had a lot less CS. He was very behind the solo laners. He's fully caught up just through his own kind of good play, his own good map movement and macro play, picking up a lot of farm where he can. He's 80 CS above Quas now. He's 3 levels above Quas, and he's having a massive impact in these fights.
Definitely is. So props to Seraph and props to Envy for maybe ending their first match in first place, tied with TSM. A 2-0 certainly feels good, but here comes the play. A teleport flank coming in from the Maokai. They've got to make this one happen. As the Baron buff is timed out, but there's nothing to be done with this one. He's got to retreat all the way back in. Now GBM is actually the one behind as well. He's teleported in. Can he find the play to make? They go into the front line. Santorin taking a lot of shots and gets taken out. That's one gone already. Envy could just wipe this match
nice
open right
though.
now. Yeah, doesn't matter though, as there's another kill picked up. Lod takes out the second tank as Quas has hit the dirt, turned into mulch. A couple of Envy chants in the crowd, and yes, 9-3 in kills. What a great fight.
Yeah, really, really good fight. GBM, you can smell the desperation here from Energy. He came in from behind. He got a good ult off, but the follow-up wasn't there. His team was not able to get in and get that damage out early, and the front line just gets hammered away on by this Victor, by Laud. They shredded the front line before Energy was able to get enough damage out. We saw that Oki was having to play pretty safe in the backlines. He's scared of Seraph. Seraph is so much more of a threat than this Maokai at this stage in the game.
Yeah, definitely the case here. It's just huge. The fervor is paying off. He's getting extra damage down. He's just huge on items. Nearly a Guardian Angel done as well. But we can watch that flank again. It just means nothing.
Yeah.
Quas just stops trying to fight.
Yeah, Quas has to now walk back through everything, and you can see he's getting slowed. The gravity field is getting dropped down, and Quas is actually going to get stunned up by this as well. He still hasn't impacted this fight whatsoever. Now he gets stunned by the Echo field. So there's just so much damage getting pumped into them while they're not able to actually return anything back themselves. Quas should have committed to the fight if they were going to have GPM TPing him behind, and I think that talks a lot about miscommunications.
It was. GBM teleported into like Tri-Brush.
Yeah.
He was not in range when Quas could have flash W'd a Lucian or something. So that was huge mistake. Honestly, just pull the CLG, pick the same ward, get on that, pick a player, but they wasted the entire home guard buff and the entire element of surprise. Huge mistake by Energy. I can't even put it just on Quas. That's GBM picking a bad ward.
Certainly. It's just miscommunication. It's something that at this level you can't get away with. And Energy, I think, has maybe one more fight in them. They need to pick their moment. They need to catch out this Victor
Yeah.
or this Lucian, and they need to delete them.
But they got to do it without flanking now. Both teleports are down for the next 2 minutes and change right here. This is a
It's gonna
difficult...
be on Santorin.
It's a difficult road ahead. Yeah, it's on Santorin, the guy who was smashing his matchup. He's in fact still up. He's down 300 gold now, but he was up 1,200 for most of it here. Max CDR. He's got cooldown boots. He's got the ability to make the plays, but now it's on Akiba. Ooh, he's just gone. There is no chance he's going to survive. His first death of the game. Not really his fault, but not getting much done. Ninja taking a crit to the face, though. 679 damage from a single attack from OQ. The damage output is there, but OQ just never seems to have the time to land all the auto attacks. He's just...
Yeah.
Despite having 3 tanks on his team, if you call Vladimir that, he's not getting the damage output here. And now Santorin forced to run away. Dragon and Baron both up on the map, and Envy will choose right now to go for Dragon.
Feels to me like in these fights, OQ is always just kind of chasing after his team, who's diving very deep. With Vladimir flanking, the Maokai's diving in, the Gragas is diving in. It feels like OQ just can't keep up, and he's actually getting zoned out of the fights by the Echo. They're not together as one cohesive unit.
Looking for the play right now, looking for the push on in. There's no Zyra right now. It's a 5v4, and in goes Envy. Looking for GBM pops Zonius. He's already done with the pool. He's queued what he can, but the health bar is not going to last for much longer. Running for his life, and he will survive it. Siphon's back 900 HP, but OQ is already dead. Deleted by Ninja on the backside. Hakuho now rooted up, and Zyra should be back into the fight a little bit, but doesn't even matter. Well, they picked off lots, so maybe it does. Energy trying the best they can to turn it around. Praxton's low. GBM gets that one, and suddenly Ninja and Hakuho have to run. Santorin pushing forward, looking to get a bit more
GBM
done.
is an absolute hero in this fight, and now he's going to come around. They should be able to pick up this kill on Hakuho,
Wow.
and I cannot believe that Vladimir stayed alive. GBM hard carried that fight. He says we're not going to lose, at least not yet.
At least not yet. A 3-1 fight overall. Elder Dragon, by the way, is actually harder to kill than Baron if you got this many Dragon stacks already. So Envy biting off a bit more than they can chew, and well, and Energy's going to live for a few more minutes at least.
That is one scary Vladimir, picking up some more gold for himself there. Does have 2K in the bank. Probably going to be working towards that death cap, I would imagine. And when he picks that up, not only is he super tanky, but he's actually a massive damage threat. And we're going to see Energy just go straight to the Baron. They're going to try to rush this.
Oh, they're certainly going to try. There's plenty of out-of-combat movement speed for the other members of the map, but right now it's Seraph seeing, hey, things are happening. Yeah, Proxy wants to join in as well, so at least 3 members of Envy. Can they make this happen right now? You've got the whole Energy lineup. They're all 5. Kiwi Kid dangerously low, though. Here's the flash engage, and they've picked off Ninja. 1 for 0, but Lot is now in the fight. Can they get anything else done, though? Because here comes GBM, and he wants to make all of this happen. And Hakuho trying to put down a little bit of slow, a little bit of shield to buy a little bit more time. Proxy, though, beset by a lot of bullets, a lot of damage. When this low comes out from Santorin, it's still only the 1 for nothing so far, but Quas tanky enough to get his job done, survive, and just root people up in the front lines. Envy running away, and looks like the rest of the members will live. Ninja picked up, nothing else going on.
Man, OQ needs to get involved in these fights. He's just being so tentative. He's staying in the back, so scared about getting caught. And I mean, it's just leading to a situation where he's hardly contributing anything to these team fights as a massive late game Caitlyn. He needs to be putting out the damage. He needs to position aggressively and pump out the damage for his team to pick up these kills.
Right, and he has the tools to do so.
Yeah.
His actual movement speed, by the way, is 441. Like, he's got 2 Zeal items and Swifties, and he's got like 900 range thanks to Rapid Fire Cannon. 800 range, but
here we go,
this guy
round 2.
has the tools, and here we go. On to Baron Nashor once again. Ninja is dead, has to run across the map. 8,000 health left on Baron. They're killing it so fast thanks to 80% crit. But maybe it's a smite fight. Proxen is here. He's got the ward across the map.
From Seraph.
They go for it. Seraph wants in as well, and they're gonna go for the play. It's the Baron Nashor picked up by the blue team. That is Energy wearing the Baron, and now Proxen stuck in the front line, dropping down. That's the kill picked up, and finally a bit of production out of OQ. The 5v4 Santorin, though, in the front line, taking the damage. Shut down, goes through to Hakuho. Now it's a 4v4. The revive coming in. Seraph, he's going to survive. Guardian Angel's going to be just fine for him. He's back up. He's back across the map, but 4 Baron buffs plus the gold on Energy.
Yeah, big swing in the game there for Energy, and both junglers actually missing their smite. OQ picks it up. I'm not sure if that was a crit. To be fair, Caitlyn crits this part of the game can be like as much as smite.
Oftentimes more than. So there's maybe a bit of breathing room here, but here, look at this.
Though.
Elder Dragon's up, and some people consider this better than a Baron buff. It's going to take some time to kill, though. And there's no smites on the map.
Super
this is
risky.
Very, very risky. Again, this takes as long as Baron takes to kill, sometimes even longer here. This is not the easiest road for Envy, but they are certainly trying.
This is giving a lot of time for Energy to get over there, and I think this is not a fight that they want. Seraph has his GA down. They have to be careful. If you lose Baron and then you lose the fight here, you lose the game.
You probably do lose the game. GBM looking for the flank, and he gets right onto Lod. Plenty of damage on this Lucian. Cutting back over to the left-hand side. Zyrulti knocks up a couple. Hakuho survives the encounter. GBM at half, but he can now heal himself. Does it so on the Dragon. Proxton forced back. He's rejoined the fight thanks to being Rek'Sai, being there first routine. There's no smite to contest. They can rush this down. They're going to, and he's not going to miss it. There's the big Dragon buff, and it's huge, by the way. 3 Dragon buffs means this is a very large
Look at
burn.
the burn on Quas.
And they have it happen. Quas getting deleted. Pops the Guardian Angel. Seraph's got to run for dear life, but he has the ultimate up to heal himself back up. Bit of burn coming across. Lod doesn't want to dedicate to it, and they're going to back away. Rift Scuttle actually buffing up energy. They can run away. Nicely played by Envy, knowing their jungler would show up first, and they made this fight happen.
Yeah, really smart, actually. I hadn't taken into consideration he already had tunnels down by that Elder Dragon, so it was going to be that kind of delayed 5v4 that they did achieve. I definitely think that Energy could have played a little bit more aggressively. It would have been risky to go for it, but there was a lot of low members here on Envy, and had they wanted to commit to that fight before the 5th Dragon went down, pull their attention off of it, make them get a little bit punished for taking all the damage from the Elder Dragon, but because they secured that 5th Dragon buff, so much damage coming out from the burn. It's all true damage as well, and you saw Quas get absolutely shredded by Lod's culling.
As far as the timer is concerned, Dragon was only taking 1.5 minutes after Baron, so actually Dragon will time out before Baron times out, I'm pretty sure on this one. Yeah, it's less than a minute to go with more than a minute left on Baron, so interesting situation to be in, where Envy will actually go under power again once their Dragon buff times out, but they run fast. 45 out of combat movement speed right now to make the rotations happen, and if they can use that to outmaneuver Energy, they've got 20 seconds to do it.
Energy definitely just wants to turtle this out. Any poke coming out with that Dragon burn is massive. You're going to see really,
Kiwi Kid's
really
thirds.
scary, yeah.
But he also recalls in 4 seconds with full heals when he does so. Not the most lasting impact here, and they will not even attempt to tickle that bot lane turret. We have a very close game here. The 7,000 gold lead by Envy doesn't really feel like it, as either team can win these battles, but they're looking for the play, looking for a bit of damage, and Seraph wants to go in right now onto GBM. Plenty of damage on this Vladimir. Quas wants to zone him out. Now onto Santorini, he's going to burn the death, and Lod takes him down. Now GBM to the back line,
nice
but careful.
Envy's
running out of health. Q picked up already, and OQ has a field day now, hitting whoever he wants. A double kill for the Caitlyn, and suddenly Envy realized, yeah, we've bit off more than we can chew. A 4v2 on the map for Energy to work with.
Lod went deep, was able to pick up the kill on Santorin, but Kiwi Kid, with the reply, nails the Grasping Vines onto Lod. He gets deleted, and losing your AD carry there, Envy was able to get absolutely wrecked in the last of that fight.
No, nice try here by Seraph and Proxton to buy time. They need that 30 seconds to pass for their team to respawn, so they cut back onto the minion wave. They at least buy 10 seconds. That's not bad. It should be enough, actually, for Envy to save all their structures, and it means now that Energy just have to play the wave clear game and also the catch Seraph game.
Yeah, good little play there, but if Seraph gets caught on the way out here, it's going to be bad. He has no GA.
He is done, so he's going to ult, but he's 1 hit away from dead. OQ might not shoot the deputy, but he's certainly going to shoot the sheriff. And 1 more hit as he's kiting. Back and forth, down he goes. Kill picked up. OQ, good job. Gets the solo gold. It's still a minute until that Echo respawns, but 4v5, I think Envy can defend.
Respawn timers definitely are very impactful at this stage in the game, though. That 60 seconds is a lot of time. They do have the Caitlyn, but here's the replay, and we are going to see Santorin getting chunked out so hard. GBM starting off this fight very low, and Santorin actually body slams into the gravity field, gets stunned up, tries to flash out, but there's Lod. He flashes deep, but Vladimir ult is already on him, and here's the E from Kiwi Kid, catching him, deleting him. Ninja goes down as well. They're diving a turret with Vladimir damage amp on them, and it's for a tank jungler with all the carries alive still on the other team. So it was not worth the investment from Ninja and Lod. A huge overcommittal there from them, and they get punished big time by the bot lane duo from Energy.
Definitely agree. A lot lost there in this one, but it looks like they won't lose much more than those couple of kills because mid lane tier 2 is still standing. The turret score still 6-3. And while Dragon's about 6 minutes away from spawning still with the 10-minute respawn on Elder Dragon, this Baron's up pretty soon. And honestly, I don't even know who's in the driver's seat anymore.
We actually see Lod selling up his Black Cleaver for a Hex Drinker, so doesn't even have the gold for the full Maw, but he now has IE Bloodthirster. He's going into that more traditional carry Lucian build, so transitioning out of that kind of early item build.
I don't even think Hex Drinker is better than Black Cleaver. Like, as far as items, I would take Black Cleaver on any champion at any time.
He didn't have the IE before either, though, right? So maybe he needed it for to sell his Ghostblade,
yeah,
Black
like
Cleaver
to get
for the IE plus Hex Drinker. So I guess that's the
but at some point you bought a Hex Drinker and didn't have one of the other items. So something went weird for him. Whatever, not the hugest deal right now, but at least he's going to be on a standard 50% crit build Lucian. That's kind of the way it goes. You normally want to get the Phantom Dancer and IE in that build at some point, so he has that.
Funny thing is, though, this is a Lucian that was ahead of Caitlyn almost the entire game.
Yeah.
Now the Caitlyn is actually ahead in the build order, even though Lucian was already 6 items. He's now sold it out. He's changing up his item build. And OQ, sticking for that late game item build the whole time, only change he's made is he picked up the Merc Shreds.
And it's interesting because there's going to be an efficiency gap here. OQ did not itemize any raw lifesteal. Okay, Ma can be it, but he's an 80% crit marksman, also a 650 range. Lucian's got 500 and only 50% crit. So the actual just damage output possibility is staggeringly different. And that means OQ gets to carry these team fights as long as he can have the uptime, which is likely on a rapid fire cannon Caitlyn.
And Baron's going to be up in 10 seconds. We've seen that they can kill this so fast. So both teams have to be extremely wary of this. If you're able to sneak a Baron, if you're able to steal it away from the other team, that's massive at this point in the game. But at the same time, committing to the Baron could trap yourselves into a fight that could end the game for you.
And here maybe is the fight even before the Baron buff. Proxen trying to block body slams, make sure his team can stay alive because of the push onto the backside. Ninja taking some damage. Hakuho eats the 8 in the hole. And oh man, GBM low on health, pops his Zonius, has to flash away. He will not die just yet, but he's maybe out of the fight on this one. Quas stunned up, forced to run away. Look how low health GBM has. Seraph wants in, but he doesn't have the damage. He's got to be careful. Guardian Angel popped up, he falls back to stay alive.
GBM
but GA
the minion.
Maybe just till there. Oh wow, GBM hit the wrong target. That is rough. And it means the Guardian Angel is saved for Seraph as he flashes away and stays alive. No kills picked up, no Guardian Angels popped either, but a lot of Summoners lost. As Envy hold on to their 5,000 gold lead. That doesn't really matter.
GBM is going really deep in these fights. He's getting a lot of attention to himself. He's soaking up a lot of damage, and he is surviving. But sometimes he's going so far that his team is not following up on all the time that Envy is spending attacking him. And he's actually picked up a Warmox as well now. Yep. So tanky on this Vladimir. And he did play it very well to stay alive. But both teams not able to pick up any kills. The trade of Summoner spells pretty even. Seraph, Hakuho blowing their flashes, and we do see the flash down from GBM. So a slight advantage there to Energy.
Yeah, and I want to talk about this Vladimir a little bit because we're seeing him in a lot of competitive play now. He's going for the more health-centric build. The only raw AP items are tanky except for the Void Staff. A fully charged Ice of Blood does over 900 damage. More than half that is from his health pool. 475 of his damage is from the health pool, 180 from the base damage, 250 from AP, and even some of that's from buying health.
As we're getting to the later stages of the game, the only one who's really hurting on Energy anymore is Quas. He's the only one who's still significantly behind in items. He doesn't even have his fourth major completed item, whereas Seraph is all capped out.
Yeah, it's a 4,000 gold difference across those two top laners. It's even 2 levels down for Quas. He's actually only beating out Kiwi Kid, really, as far as his teammates are concerned. Hakuho actually only 14 there. So he could go up for a bit as well. Now the mid lane is the target. And here comes the flank yet again in from Quas. He wants these guys, and he's going to knock in Ninja. This has got to be really scary for Victor. He's going to drop down. Centauran gets the kill. And now who else can be the target? Centauran is low, but it's going to be a Guardian Angel. He's okay for this one. Into the back lane goes GBM. He's picked up Hakuho. He wants even more, and he pops his Zonius at a really good time to not drop down to Seraph. A 2-for-0 is a great start to this fight for Energy as OQ puts in plenty of damage, hits up Seraph for a little bit more. He's going to be okay to recall back, but this could just mean Baron.
Yeah, Quas and Centauran both play really aggressively, knowing they have the GAs available. They both lose their GA charge, but they come up huge. Now here comes the TP from Seraph. Seraph and Proxen, they want to make something happen. They don't want to give up this Baron. But Seraph actually got trapped up, and he's getting chunked out.
Down to 3,000 health. Baron Nash down to 6,000. This is going to be an attempt. They're 3 versus 5, and Energy is a little bit low, plus missing ultimates. Baron Nasher, 4,000. 3,000 left on it. They're still going for this one. Centauran does not yet have the ulti to knock back. Proxen is up soon, and he's going to go for the play on towards Rek'Sai. The attempt, a great smite by Centauran, picks it up, pops the Guardian Angel off the Rek'Sai, and they're going to leave him out to die. There is nowhere for this Void Monster to go, and knockout doesn't matter. A Rampage for GBM, extended fight, 3 kills, and a Baron for Energy.
Centauran deserves all the credit in the world. This whole game, he has been on point with his smite, securing buff after buff. Dragon Steel, he has the Baron secure as well. He's just been so on point with his smites. It's been massive for Energy to stay alive in this fight.
Yeah, there's 2 players I got to give a lot of props to. It's him and GBM for carrying the team fights themselves.
So here we go. There was a very early engage from Quas, who's getting absolutely destroyed. And just now is OQ actually joining in the fight. So Quas had already given up his Guardian Angel, but because they have the double lives on both Santorin and Quas, they can play this aggressively. They can focus out those carries. They take down Hakuo, they take down Ninja, and that's what eventually nets them the Baron.
Now we talk about records here, and definitely a long game right here. 52 minutes in, and looking to knock down the mid lane right here. Inhibitor under fire. Dangerously low, and it does get dropped down. Great use of the Baron buff so far. Active on all 5. 2 minutes still remaining on that one. And the middle inhibitor cracked.
They're going to go straight to Elder. It's about to spawn, and they're going to be able to set up vision around this. This is a massive point in the game for these two teams. They do not want to cede Elder Dragon.
And the Elder Dragon is going to mean a little bit. It's going to be 90 damage over 3 seconds on auto attack or on spell hit.
For TP.
We're looking for the flanks coming in. Okay, still wearing the Baron buff for 2 minutes as well, so they are definitely more powerful than Envy. They've tied up the gold plus the stats of this Baron, but Dragon will die slowly. Envy wants in.
Here it
and
comes.
They find it. Here comes the teleport. Quas in the front line as well. And you've got GBM running in, but you've also got Seraph wanting to go for it as well. 4,000 health left on this one. Quas in the front line. Gravity Well stuns him up. He's not dropping damage from anyone else here in this one, and Seraph is getting blown apart.
Look at Ninja, though. He's getting soloed out by GBM.
He's getting crushed out by GBM. He flashes away. OQ gets the kills and stop, but they trade it back in the mid later. It's a 4 versus 4, and they might make it okay on this one. Santorin walking forward. OQ can't chase through the gravity or the laser either, but they just turn right back in towards the Elder Dragon. 5,000 health. No attempt to stop it, and that's going to be picked up. Oh, it's going to get reset. Now picked up, now secured. Blue team has slain their own Elder Dragon, and a huge lead off that Baron buff.
Yeah, absolutely massive. And GBM, although he did give up his life and wasn't able to actually finish off Ninja, he basically occupied 3 people in the back of that fight and almost killed one by himself. The impact that he's having with these TP flanks, with the beautiful ultimates, he's always getting a lot of people. He's always putting out massive amounts of team fight pressure, and he's carrying these team fights.
He is absolutely carrying these team fights. And what I love about this is if Energy can close us out, we get another game. We get another game of these two teams here. Best of 3s, North American LCS already looking great so far. And here we go. Just watch the replay again. Yeah,
GBM in the back line. Look at this. E hits 3. Hakuo and Ninja already out of the fight. Laud has to be scared as well. He's just putting out so much pressure. Proxen has to turn around and go to him. And it allows a situation where his team is able to take out Seraph. He's already chunked Ninja down so low. It gives them the HP advantage. It eventually secures them that Elder Dragon. So a great play there by GBM, doing a lot of work for his team. And we can see some more AD carry item shuffles as the Mercurial Scimitar is picked up there by OQ. He got rid of the Maw. Maw has been completed by Laud. So as these guys just get more and more gold, they're kind of shuffling around to what they consider the most optimal build.
Yeah, it's certainly going to make him a little bit more durable here, and being able to QSS away from the stuns and whatnot from Seraph. Sure, it makes a lot of sense here. I like that
skill as well.
Yeah, I think it's definitely the right choice. Scimitar, I think, is just generally a better item than Maw for Marksman. Pushing forward, though, on this one. Bot lane is the target.
Yeah, they got to be really careful because GBM is pushing in the mid lane. He has that Elder Dragon buff. No chance for Laud to win the 1v1 when he has that 5 Dragon burn as well. So GBM's just going to be pushing this in constantly. And with Caitlyn to siege up, it's pretty rough.
Yeah, it's timing out very soon. Actually, a few guys of Energy aren't wearing it because of, I guess, GBM, because he died.
Oh, true.
You don't get it when you're dead. But the other 4, putting out so much damage, and it's timing out right about now. You can see that little orange buff on Santorin's bar. Tick, 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 and, well, school's out for summer. Here we go. Santorin pushing forward. Elder Dragon times out, but it's the turret taking plenty of punishment here. Gold, though, basically identical. It's how you play these fights right now that matters the most. And the turret going down just for Santorin being beefy. Quas takes a lot of damage, but he's all right on this one. And you know what? Just taking the inhibitor turret and recalling. It's an okay way to play it.
I think it's the right call. Quas was tanking up that turret, so he took a lot of damage. You don't want to start the fight at half HP, especially not at this stage in the game where one fight often means the game. They have their GA charges back now, whereas GAs are still on cooldown for Envy, so that's really big. We saw that super over-aggressive mid-lane fight where Santorin and Quas were able to dive deep and play extra aggressive, almost suicidal, because they had the GA, and they can do that again.
You look at the gold graph down there. This is what I think Energy wanted the Game 1 gold graph to look like, but they didn't get past that like 38-minute mark where it kept going downwards. But they finally, mostly from GBM, I would say, got those team fights to start working out, and he has been soloing practically the back line of Envy.
Yeah, this has looked like a game where it was all but wrapped up for Envy, but GBM just said no. He says, I refuse to lose this game.
I refuse to lose.
More build adaptations. He now has a Randuin's instead of the Warmogs, which I think is actually pretty effective.
I actually would almost keep the Warmogs, because CDR is actually a really important stat on Vladimir. I'm pretty sure his Tides of Blood cooldown starts at the beginning of the channel, not at the end. So it's up way the heck more often if you do have the 10 CDR that item gives you, but he wants to survive the damage output coming out of Vlad. He's critting half the time. I get it. It's interesting to me.
And it's just the in-combat impact, obviously, is so much of the itemization budget on Warmogs is in that out-of-combat regen. And when it's going to be a one or all or nothing type fight, Brandos is going to be more impactful, probably.
He sold that as well now. It's on Death Cap.
There you go.
Which actually, if you're going to make options, I think Death Cap is probably the best of those three so far. Right?
Yep.
Huge amounts of ability power, triggering huge amounts of health. GBM's health pool is 4,297. He's got 671 ability power. He's got lots of both stats.
Has a lot of everything.
Yeah.
Pretty much everyone in the game does now, and Quas, the last member, he has hit that full item build. Even Kiwi Kid is full item builds. And one thing that's actually really, really big at this stage in the game is the amount that Kiwi Kid is worth in these fights is so much bigger than Hakuo. You know, this is essentially a mid lane Zyra at this point. This is a full AP Zyra with a Void Staff, with all the key items that he needs, and he's going to be able to put out an insane amount of damage.
Yeah.
If someone like Laud or Ninja gets caught in a combo from Kiwi Kid, he can insta-kill them
dead.
as the support. That can be a one game, whereas the Karma does not have the ability to do anything even close to that.
Yeah. And looking at this, as the builds do fill out, seeing the players' choices, because Kiwi Kid being a real damage threat, no longer has room for pink wards anymore, whereas Hakuo is still wearing one. On the flip side, though, Proxen doesn't have any wards anymore. He's sold his Ruby Sightstone for more tank items, whereas you've still got Centaur wearing his Smite Stone, as it were, the green Smite with the wards attached to it. So
I think all the late game item choices are pretty interesting because you actually almost never get to see a game like this where it is to 60 minutes almost, where players are actually able to have the goal to not only cap out, but then multiple times adjust their builds and be like, hey, this is actually more optimal. Let's try this.
Yeah. Honestly, I'd like to see a Blade of the Ruin King on Laud to cut through these big tanks. He needs them to kill the health pool, and that's just not right now there for him. Of course, Quickstep Assassin no longer removes Vladimir ultimate things of that ilk, so he can't get rid of Chemo Plague, but now looking for the play onto the Baron. It's Envy going in. Santorin, though, knock around Ninja, but there's not a lot of follow-through. It's Quas going forward, and it's GBM running in as well, and now Seraph's got to run. He is injured, so is Hakuo, and GBM.
He's destroying the back
He is
line.
killing everybody. Death Cap, Void Staff, so much damage, all the ability power you would need for 2 kills already picked up by Energy. What a great team fight.
They just cannot deal with GBM. He gets in the back line, and instantly Ninja and Hakuo are out of the fight. They're getting completely decimated by GBM and his flanks. He's playing beautifully, and he is showcasing the power of the new Vladimir.
This is great.
Oh, and a 1900 heal off that Q on the Baron.
1900
Why
heal,
not?
not a big deal. Let's get ourselves another Baron buff as well. No real chance for a Smite Steal. Quick pickup there. Good job, Santorin. Good job in the team fight, and it looks like there's just no way for Envy to win these battles anymore.
Yeah, and we have now hit the hour mark. A cheer goes up from the fans.
Yeah,
we have made it.
And we've still probably, at this point, got another game of these two teams battling, and they were so different.
Yeah, but at this stage in the game, although it is looking more and more in the favor of Energy as these fights are just going kind of worse and worse for Envy, you never know. One mistake can cost you the game.
At this point, we've changed death timers throughout the season.
Pretty long.
Right, yeah, we've changed throughout the season. They're shorter for most of the game. At this point, they're on full power. Like it's like 7 hours long. If you're dead, you don't respawn anymore. It's permanent deathmatch now. It's hardcore mode here in League of Legends. But now into the base they go. And by the way, they're not even alive yet. It's a 5v3 for the first bit of this one. The first turret goes down. The next one's in their sights. But here comes Ninja looking for the play. Seraph's in there as well. Tanky as he can be. Quas trying to retreat, and he survives for now. Big shield comes out from Hakuho, and they keep the other turret alive. There's still 2.5 minutes of Baron to work with. Bot lane and Hip goes down. Energy, though, will retreat, not getting too much more out of this fight. Out they go. Kiwi Kid taking a little bit of culling. He's going to be okay.
Yep, he is okay for now. As Envy really wanted to get something done there with those respawns. It would have been huge for them if they could have taken out a couple of Energy's members if they did overcommit, but Energy was able to just kind of pretty close, but they got 2 inhibs, they get a Nexus turret, they get out alive, and they have so much map pressure now. They're going to head top lane, they're going to allow the minions to do their work, and you have to feel it's on Energy to make a mistake now.
It is. They're in complete control. Everything is theirs as they want it. 2 inhibs down makes it easy to siege top lane. They're still wearing a Baron buff for over 1.5 minutes. That duration did go up in the preseason, or mid-season changes, I should call it. And they've got a lot to work with.
Santorin also purchasing up a GA once again. He had sold that, but now that's off cooldown, just buys another one.
Beautiful stuff. So now the top lane is the target, and you just send all 5 that you don't need any frills, anything fancy for your energy here. You just need to push in and close it out. This is their game to win if they execute properly. Turret under fire, Baroned up, cannon minions getting some damage. You can see OQ though, very loath to push it. He doesn't want to be the guy that gets caught and pushes the game away. He's got flash up, he's got the ability to react to plays, but he's just afraid of Proxy getting a flash knockup onto him. But there we go, that's going to be enough. That's going to be the pushback, and that's top lane tier 2 gone. That's 9 turrets picked up so far. Looking for a little bit more onto this one. Energy. Want the top lane inhibitor to go down. Every wave will spawn a cannon minion. That's been the case for all of 2016. Even beyond that, there's another one. There's the reinforcement. Still 40 seconds on this Baron buff. Looking for top lane.
And Envy's got to fight. I mean, the waves are pushing in. Their time in this game is running out. They got to pick a fight, and this is going to be it.
30 seconds of the buff, and they just delete GBM. The chain stun was there. That's so huge. So in goes Envy. Seraph already lost the Guardian Angel. Santori, though, under fire, dropping dangerously low. And is there any follow-through?
Look at the Nexus, though.
Proxen does not have any good tunnels to go for. It's going to be an easy recall. 18 seconds left on the Baron buff. And I'm not even sure they're going to save the turret. It's going to be close, and it does go down. The minions take it out, so there is no defense left. There are no turrets at all. Overwrecker is even more useless than normal now for Energy. Envy have no base defense.
Why you got to kick a Why you got to get on Oathbreaker? Don't kick a horse.
I think I played with you like 2 days ago, and you're like, I'm going to buy Oathbreaker. I'm like, well, oh, it was Riv.
Oh,
you bought an
Riv.
Oathbreaker, we had 11 turrets killed.
Okay.
And that's why I brought it out.
That's fantastic.
It was something in recent history for me.
There you go, man. Well, Envy able to come up pretty big there, taking out GBM in that fight, able to knock him down before he's able to get the zonies off, before he's able to get the pool off, but it only buys them a little bit of time. Their Elder Dragon is spawning, and they know they have to get something done. GBM is dead for a little bit more, but he's going to have his TP.
It's going to be the play for this one. 12 seconds on GBM. At this point, Envy's damage is fast enough. They could probably just crush the Dragon, but guess what? It's the Nexus. There's no turrets, and here they go, doing their best impression of Echo Fox, just running down the map, looking for the push into the Nexus, and by God, they have some damage output. Energy going to just close the game out on this one. GBM is there. There's OQ. No one's going to stop him. This should be the Nexus unless a miracle happens, and it won't. Game 2 goes to Energy, and this series will go the distance.
What a game.
I know.
And what a way to end it. That was absolutely